So we are here. Hello, welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and today I'm going to check out everything that has happened with the latest declarations. Russell Brand breaking his silence. You know that he was being literally canceled everywhere. Um was it was really unfair the way that he was just being deleted from all these platforms without noticing, just with some accusations. I understand that sometimes people can be guilty of something, and if they are charged, if they are guilty of that, well, I understand that they can be erased. Even so, you know that the topic of the free speech is something that it's a very delicate topic. But now Russell Brand has come out 2 hours ago, barely 2 hours ago, with some words. I haven't seen this video. I want to make it clear. I haven't seen this video. I wanted to do a literal blind run. I just added the captions. And one thing that pleases me a lot is that right now we are streaming, live streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Twitch, on LinkedIn, on Rumble, and on TikTok at the same time. I think I'm missing a platform, but everything is going smooth so far. Everything is going smooth. So I think I can say that this is my very first true multi-platform like ever. I have never included TikTok in my analysis on my right away. But let's take a look. I'm going to rewind and be watching piece by piece to see his words. Let's take a look at his words, what he says. I'm going to be commenting. As I said, I haven't seen the video. I will be pausing every 15, 20 seconds to check it out. So let's do this.
Hello there, you awakening wonders. Obviously, it's been an extraordinary and distressing week, and I thank you very much for your support and for questioning the information that you've been presented with.
First of all, he is assuming that we are questioning the information that we have been presented with. Okay, that he's assuming that the information, of course, is not legit, and he is not guilty of all this that people are claiming, even if they are people are mostly divided about this because the accusations are quite detailed in the descriptions
Presented with. By now, you're probably aware that the British government have asked big tech platforms to censor our online content, and that some online platforms have complied with that request. What you may not know.
Okay, one thing that I'm seeing that I did not see on the previous video, the first video that I analyzed a couple days ago. In the previous video, he was not reading. He was he was improvising the video as he was talking off the top of his head. How do I know that? Because of the movement of his pupils, of his eyes. The pupils were focused on one point of the camera. In this case, I don't know if you can see in your screens, but I can tell that his pupils, his eyes, are moving just so slightly, reading some lines on a screen. This is a fixed script. This is something that was written beforehand. That's something to take into consideration. And what's more interesting is that even if it's a written statement, he seems more nervous than last time. I'm going to tell you that it's because this blinking. Take a look at his blinking. Remember that last time he has his eyes fixed on the camera. In this case, look at the blinking.
With that request. What you may not know.
He does this pause and there's a rapid blinking. So there's a bit of stress, just a bit of nervousness. This didn't happen in the last video, in the first video that he published. So let's keep looking. Yes, this is scripted. Let me see. I can highlight. Yeah, I can highlight. Yeah, Susan, this is scripted. His eyes are moving over some lines, so he must have a teleprompter right in front of him. Okay, let's continue.
Is that this happens in the context of the Online Safety Bill, which is a piece of UK legislation that grants sweeping surveillance and censorship powers, and it's a law that has already been passed. I also don't imagine you've heard of the Trusted News Initiative. Now, as is often the case when a word like trusted is used as part of an acronym to describe an unelected body, trust is the last thing you should be offering.
Again, another thing that I've noticed is that he had much more spontaneous hand gestures on his previous video. These are much more symmetrical. He's using the same symmetrical gesture over and over again. There's no much difference. There's much more control in this gesture, which is bad. It should be more spontaneous. Even if the previous video had to be edited, because maybe he wanted more clarity and not being having a too long of a video. The fact that he improvised it, that he talked off the top of his head in the previous video, was more spontaneous, was more authentic, and that makes us trust him more. The problem when you are reading a script on a screen is that it is not the same. It is not the same. You have to, in all cases, practice the script so it seems natural. So I don't see the same spontaneity in this message than the last time, which is absurd, because you think that being more prepared 2 days later, he should have done something a bit, I don't know. He wants to make sure that people trusts him. That's for sure. That's his main goal in this case.
The Trusted News Initiative is a collaboration between big tech and legacy media organisations to target, control, choke and shut down independent media organisations, like this one.
Okay, these are some claims that he is saying. Perhaps there's no way, of course, of confirming that he's saying this. He's affirming it. We know that we know how the world has been working lately. I do not necessarily disagree with what he's saying. I only say that there's no way of actually confirming this, although sometimes our common sense is more than enough for this kind of matters. The problem is that his claim, I don't know, I haven't seen the video, but his claim is going to be that they are going to try to silence him through some kind of coordinated effort with these 4 women, through many years of journalistic efforts to find the 4 women, including this 16-year-old at the time of that relationship, to come out and expose him. I see it as a problem. It's like you're trying to justify the attack. Okay, not to say the attack never happened, and I have proof that the so-called abuse never happened. Okay, that would be, I don't know how to say. It's like addressing the matter or the topic at hand, not saying, oh yeah, I've been attacked for such and such and such. Okay, that's an argument, as I said in my previous video, that works very well with his fans. Okay, that is important. That's an argument that works with his fans. But he needs an argument that works with anybody. He needs an argument that is ironclad, something that cannot be, that you listen to it, and whether you are a fan or not a fan, you will still say, all right, this makes sense. Okay, that is important.
We'll be talking about that on our show on Monday on Rumble. But just to give you an idea of what the TNI is, this is a quote from one of their spokespeople. Because the actual real rivalry now is not between the BBC and CNN globally, it's actually between all trusted news providers and digital platforms. It's clear that these organisations collaborate in constructing narratives, whether that's around the war or the pandemic, And of course, there are other examples. And it's
Well, I'm not naive, and I know that this is how mass media works. And yes, everyone is always constructing a narrative. That is not that is not a not hard to imagine. Everyone, and I mean everyone, and of course, people in power want to always to craft narratives that help people just calm down or control people. That's something that I agree with, because that's how power has always worked. That is not new. They have social media now. They have all these massive media platforms, but that principle has been since the dawn of time, since the dawn of civilizations. That is nothing new. That's always has happening. So what Russell says about those big media companies crafting a narrative for control, that is not surprising, and you would be extremely naive to think otherwise.
very clear to me that we have to be very, very cautious indeed.
Here you can see his eyes moving. It's easier in this spot. You see that his eyes are moving. He's reading a script this time. In fact, he being so precise about all these topics and all these organizations that he's mentioning, it is further proof that he's reading a script. Watch his eyes.
Very, very cautious indeed. That's why I'm asking you to follow me on Rumble. Rumble have made a clear commitment to free speech, and Rumble is the primary platform that we will be streaming from. We'll be back this Monday, and as usual, we'll be talking about deep state and corporate collusion.
Okay, this is more like a marketing message for his Rumble channel. I understand that he was demonetized from YouTube, by the way, and I would not be surprised that his videos have been shadow banned on YouTube as well. You know that let's face it, I have to thank YouTube for many things, but you know that those topics do not go well with the red play button. So that's why he's inviting everyone to go to Rumble. I'm streaming through Rumble. I would not be surprised that YouTube will throttle or it's like break. It's like limiting the outreach of my video. That happened with my previous video of Russell. It went at some point, like from 1 hour to another, the outreach just died. So every YouTuber knows that when you begin to touch certain topics, even if they are remotely controversial, YouTube doesn't like that. YouTube wants us squeaky clean, and you know that other topics, like all those songs from hip hop songs with all those images and all those lyrics, don't matter. You say this is a bit hypocritical. Well, quite hypocritical, I must say. But yeah, that this is not much addressing what's happened, which in fact it's quite a sound strategy, because it's like you're not giving that much importance. You're giving more importance to the fact, to the matter at hand, which is the actual problem that he has, the outreach and the monetization and the shadow banning on all these platforms, and the only one that he's supporting him is Rumble. I would ask the question, why isn't he mentioning X? Because Elon Musk was openly supporting him on X. Maybe perhaps he has some kind of contract with Rumble, exclusivity with Rumble, or has to only can talk directly about Rumble. I don't know, but it's odd that he did not mention X or Twitter, or because, well, yes, X has become another platform that you can, to some extent, at least, have that amount of free speech. The problem is that difference between free speech and freedom of speech, freedom of reach. Okay. And the rich is the big topic. Maybe that's why Russell is asking people to go to Rumble.
And how ordinary democracy is anathema now, how it's shut down, ignored and avoided. We'll be talking about a military-industrial complex that is able to facilitate and start wars that seem sometimes to be little more than money laundering operations. And that's with all respect to the hundreds of thousands of victims of the numerous ongoing wars in the world at the moment.
So basically, this is basically a trailer for his channel on Rumble, and I don't see, as I told you, this is the first thing that he is saying after that that first defense video that he published, self-defense video that he published, that he claimed that, well, none of those claims were legit. Of course, that's what he was going to say. But I thought that he was going to address these allegations again. Let's see.
We're talking about the role of Big Pharma and how Big Pharma have been able to influence government policy around the world and how they've been able to evade due liability and necessary scrutiny, how they've been able to avoid media investigation that perhaps ought be due them. And of course, we'll be talking about media corruption and censorship. So please follow me on Rumble, because that's the only way that we can keep our voice. You can go to rb.rumble.com to support me directly and keep me and our channel independent. And I need your support now more than ever, and more than I ever imagined I would. So follow me, support our channel if you can, if it's within your means. But more important than any of that is that you please, if you can, stay free.
Well, stay free is his motto, has always been. It always ends up with that gesture of the open hands gesture that he does, looking straight into the camera with that angle. That's part of his of his brand image on his channel, and how he does and what he recommends, the stay free and that message. Some of you, of course, in the comments, I'm keeping an eye on your comments. I understand you want me to go more all out on this and have speak my mind. I usually speak my mind on Twitter. You know that I'm quite direct there. But in this topic, I think I have to be a bit balanced. What I see, I want to express just what I see. If I did not come here to talk about the topics that Russell talks about, because in fact those are not the topics that I talk about. I talk about body language and behavior, and what I see here, what I'm seeing here is that he is not that spontaneous. Is really scripted. Should have been more practice to look more trusty, to look more spontaneous. He's not addressing the accusations at all. I don't know if at the start of the video he says anything. The only thing that he says is an extraordinary and distressing week, and I thank you very much for your support. I think he doesn't say, and for questioning the information that you've been presented with. He's very vague about it. I guess his attorneys have recommended, I'm sure about that, have recommended be vague. Do not say anything about what is people claiming. You know that many clips have resurfaced about him, although he has never denied that he was very promiscuous and he used any kind of substance in that era. We're talking about the 2000s. But at the same time, I see that he's more worried. This video, in my opinion, the conclusion is that he's much more worried about his platform. All right. And in all cases, I understand that, well, Rumble is connected to local, so he can get a nice community in there. I don't know, even if YouTube demonetized him, I don't know to what extent he expected to really earn a substantial amount of money through YouTube, because in the topics that he touches, even if YouTube had him monetized, okay, even if his channel was monetized, the fact that the topics that he touched on his videos and the way that he touched them, I'm sure that YouTube was always on a case-by-case basis say, hey, we cannot, you know that is a symbol that usually is green. There is a dollar sign green. It becomes yellow when YouTube says, hey, we have to limit the amount of money that you are earning with this. We have to limit the amount of advertisers that are okay with your message. So I don't think that there wasn't much of a difference on his earnings on YouTube. I would like to take a look, by the way. Maybe there are those pages that calculate the super chats and the donations, that public donations, that are the most how to say that, accurate way of telling how much a YouTuber is making. But I don't think with his topics that he would have been much affected by that. Shadow banning, some of you are questioning if it's the same to being demonetized and shadow ban. It's not the same. Demonetized is that you don't earn any money with your videos. Shadow ban is that the platform, any platform, can limit the outreach of your videos so nobody can find them or see them or are recommended or whatsoever. That's what Elon Musk said about freedom of speech versus freedom of reach, okay, or outreach, of how many people can you outreach. You can say whatever you want on Twitter, but rest assured, the Twitter algorithm is extremely strict, okay? Elon Musk, I admire Elon Musk for many things. It's like from many figures. I can admire someone, but I don't like some things. And Twitter has still very strong shadow banning in terms of words, in terms of the people that you interact with, in terms of topics. Again, you can say whatever you want there. You're not going to get canceled, but you're going to get shadow banned, or in other terms, your outreach is going to be limited. So that's, and that is from a personal experience, and that's from people that have analyzed the Twitter algorithm that Elon published openly. So what he says, what Russell Brand says about this narrative, the narrative exists, obviously, and this limiting of that outreach of dissenting voices and people that want to say, hey, I have this opinion about what's going on with the world, with war, with vaccines, with whatever. I have this point of view. I want to express that, but sadly, that's being suppressed. So that's why I was making that commentary the other day about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has escaped this just because he has tried to be balanced in the way that he invites people to his podcast. He's inviting. There's this topic. He's going to invite people that are pro and against the topic, okay, on both sides of the fence, so to speak. So that's one of the reasons that he has been seen as fair, even if his personal opinions have sent it into trouble. So I see this. I think Russell is more worried about people not finding him. These platforms burying his videos to not be seen, not having any outreach. I don't know what kind of manipulation could have behind closed doors and those numbers and that reach of that videos. But he's sure, and I'm sure as well, that Rumble has dedicated itself. Many people don't like Rumble because they might feel uncomfortable with many of the creators, but I'm there as well. And sometimes I had to say, hey, I want to say this about this topic, and the topic has been controversial, and I have been shadow banned by YouTube, by Facebook, by Twitter back then, before the Elon takeover, and I had to share my stuff in Rumble. So this is my point of view. It's more like my opinion on Russell Brand's current breaking of silence, but he's not really breaking of silence. He's not saying anything about his accusations, but more trying to push people to Rumble. I don't think the problem with Rumble, I'm gonna say it, say the quiet part out loud. The problem with Rumble is that many people do not know it exists and do not really know how to use it and how to navigate it, because they are working hard to make it friendly. They are working hard to make it interesting. The problem is that you have to be a bit invested into learning the platform to be able to navigate it. And also at the same time, in YouTube, you have virtually every single topic that you can imagine and you can remotely need. So staying in YouTube is really easy for many people and going to another platform. But in this case, if you want to listen to Russell, it can happen to me as well. You know, if you follow me on Twitter, that I can have really extreme takes on certain topics. I can be really stubborn. I can be satirical at times. And yes, many platforms do not like. I've been shadow banned also on YouTube only for satire and for some topic that a headline that includes a word that they don't like. The video is throttled, is totally destroyed. That outrage. So yes, there's all this problem of this. Opinions that we want to say. In this case, I talk about human behavior, but I cannot help as a communicator and as a teacher as well, try to tell people that you have to have critical thinking, but you cannot have critical thinking if you cannot be allowed to hear the dissenting voices. There are people that say, hey, this doesn't make sense. It's important you put 2 and 2 together, you 2 plus 2, and realize that, and I've said this many times, and people have criticized me without any base, okay, just for saying, hey, I disagree with certain topics, I disagree with certain takes of the mainstream media. Well, not certain takes. I disagree with 90% from what the mainstream media says. Like I'm going to try to be honest with that. But this is the world that we are living in, and this my job in all cases is trying to identify or give you tools so you can listen to not only to Russell Brand, to any person, and say. What this person says does not make sense. His or her body language is suspicious, and the words do not add up, and they're contradicting themselves, or they're hypocrites, or no, this doesn't make sense to me. Okay? Because we got an intuition, we get common sense, we have critical thinking. If we can develop it, that's something that we can exercise, and that is my main objective with this. Russell's body language, much more spontaneous last time, a bit scripted this time, a trailer, so you can follow him on Rumble. That is my conclusion from this video. Well, my body language buddies, a few words. This is my first. I was telling you this was my first live stream on 7 platforms at the same time: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter. I'm missing 2. I don't remember the other 2 at this moment. It was 7 platforms in total. Was trying to make sure that this works. It's working nice. And Twitter and TikTok has been working very nice in vertical format. In all the same, reading your comments, I understand that you can get a bit frustrated with me. Oh, Jesus, you're pulling your punches. Oh, Jesus, you're not looking at the big picture. I am looking at the big picture, but I have to. This is the body language guy. I have, by the way, a new YouTube channel about, I'm going to be talking about US politics, which is a topic that I had to completely separate. I want to talk about US politics a bit more freely and have a dedicated channel for that. The body language guy was going to be a bit more generic, as I have the Royal Rogue that I had to spin off a channel for the British Royals. I will be having one for pop culture and one for US politics. So That's my strategy to try to, play with the algorithm. And that's why I'm doing these live streams, because believe it or not, live streams have much better outreach and are favored by all these platforms, regardless of what is going on. So, my body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And until we meet on another video or another live, remember the two most important words: much love and bliss. Bye-bye. Take care. Love you all.